Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of those tiny but oh so annoying grammar points that can stop you right in your tracks. Cannot versus cannot. It trips up pretty much everyone, but by the end of this, I promise you'll have the answer for good. Have you ever been writing something, maybe an important email, and you just stop? You're staring at the screen thinking, wait, is it one word or two? You are so not alone. It feels like such a small thing, but it's the kind of detail that can make you second-guess yourself. But the good news? The answer is way simpler than you think. Okay, let's cut right to the chase. Here is the single most important takeaway. If you are ever in doubt, always use the single word cannot. It's the standard, it's the safe bet, and it's what you'll want for any kind of formal writing. Honestly, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. So let's really lock in that main rule. Because once you have this default setting programmed in your brain, spotting the exceptions becomes so much easier. Think about it like this. While you can technically write it as two words, using the single word cannot has become the accepted standard. It's the convention. In any formal situation, whether it's a school paper or a report for work, using cannot just signals that extra level of polish. It shows you know what's up. But here's where things get really interesting. There are a couple of very specific situations where using cannot as two separate words isn't just okay, it's actually the correct choice. And luckily for us, there are only two main exceptions you really have to worry about. So the first exception happens when the word not is, well, it's playing for another team. It's not modifying can at all. Instead, it's kicking off a completely separate phrase. And the most famous example of this is the not only, but also construction. Take a look at this sentence. See what's happening? The word can is separate from the phrase not only. The ability is can. And what is it you can do? You can not only create jobs, but also promote sustainability. If you tried to squish them together into cannot, the whole sentence would just fall apart. The not simply belongs with only. The other time you'll use two words is all about emphasis. It's when you really want to put your foot down and add some force. Just try reading this out loud. You cannot borrow my car. That's a simple refusal. But no, you cannot borrow my car. Well, that's a whole other level of no, isn't it? It has that extra punch. All right, now for what is probably the trickiest part of this whole puzzle. Asking questions. This is the one area where the one word cannot just grammatically will not work. You can never ever start a question with the single word cannot. It just sounds wrong, doesn't it? Cannot you see I'm busy? Nope. In English questions, we flip the verb, in this case can, and put it before the subject, you. The not has to come after. So your options are either the informal, can't you see, or the more formal, can you not see? And this is a really cool and subtle point. The exact same words, can you not play the guitar, can mean two completely different things, and it all depends on where you put the emphasis. If you stress the not, can you not play the guitar? Well, that's a request. Maybe a polite one, maybe not so polite, but you're asking someone to stop. But if you stress the can you not play the guitar? Now it's a question of surprise. You're shocked they don't have that skill. So all of this really brings us to the most important point, knowing your audience and your context. Because choosing between cannot, and even can't, it just comes down to how formal you need to be. So here's your quick guide. Think of cannot as the default setting, the safe choice for all formal writing. Can't is its casual cousin, perfect for texts, DMs, and talking with friends. And then you have this very formal, almost literary construction, cannot but. It's a fancy way of saying you feel compelled to do something. For example, one cannot but admire her determination. It just means you have to admire. Okay, we've covered the main rule, we've hit the exceptions, and we've talked about the special cases. So let's wrap all of this up into a simple, foolproof checklist you can use to get this right every single time, without even thinking about it. Here it is, your 4-step guide. Number 1, always default to cannot. When in doubt, one word. Number 2, only use cannot when you want that extra punch of emphasis or it's part of a phrase like not only. 3, for questions, it's always can you not. And 4, use can't with your friends, but stick to cannot for formal stuff. That's it. You've got this. But before we go, I have one last really fascinating little detail for you. It might just surprise you, especially if you ever find yourself taking a formal English exam with a very strict word count. And for our last surprising fact, the word cannot is so fused together in the English language that even its contraction can't get special treatment. In certain formal exams, can't is the only contraction that's counted as a single word. All the others, like don't or isn't, are counted as two. It just goes to show you that you're not just following some arbitrary rule. You're using a word that holds a truly unique place in the language. So, which other grammar rules do you think are actually just matters of style? That's a question for another explainer.